energy is all around us, and energy is all connected to all different types of energy. You can communicate with all types of different things.
In your head, you just need to think, please may I turn my energy on, or anything like that, a trigger of energy, and then just turn it on.
And to Joseph.
It's quite a warm sensation inside your body, it's quite tingly, and then your subconscious mind kind of realises it.
As a kid, I met him down this like alleyway, and ever since we've been playing in my head or somewhere else.
But he speaks energy, it doesn't speak our language.
The rain was tapping and the windows and the wind was banging.
Like many children, when I was young, I was very, very sensitive. Even at the age of 5, I realized I could perceive the subtle energy. I would look at someone and I would see the energy around them. I could feel the emotions, what they were going through. I would put my hand up and I could hear their thoughts sometimes.
I finished my neurosurgical training at Duke in 1987. All of this emergent reality basically emerges from consciousness. And it opens the door to a tremendous amount of understanding about consciousness and the mind and the power that human beings have over their unfolding reality.
Hello, my name is Soraya Permatasari. I'm president of the Indonesian Community Forum in Australia, and I will be your host today, together with David, who will later on introduce himself. Good day, everyone, and welcome to this unique, very intriguing, interactive seminar about how humans, when they use their full potential, could do things that are seen to naked eyes as impossible. Mind over matters. Today's event aims to, as you will see later, bring you a better understanding of what consciousness is and how it can be utilized to improve the way we conduct our day-to-day lives, and to a certain extent, help others in certain situations. We will learn that so-called superhumans are not actually that super, that we can train ourselves to be one. For those who haven't seen the movie Superhuman, The Invisible Made Visible, it was produced by a researcher, a scientist by definition, who has been exploring this phenomena for over 15 years. Before we start, I would like to extend our warmest welcome to His Excellency Ambassador Johannes Kristiarto Suryolgowo, the Ambassador of Indonesia for Australia, His Excellency Ambassador Irmawan Emir Wisnandar from Merpati Putih Australia, founder of Merpati Putih Australia, and our speakers this morning, Lestayu Irawan, President of Australia Pencaksilat Federation, Hari Cahyadi Wijaya, officer at the Indonesian Air Force, and Monchu, President of Merpati Putih Australia. Also to Wendy, Gallant, Rob Freeman, who will be practitioners at a later session in seeing blindfolded demonstration. Over to you, David.
Thank you, Soraya. My name is David Baxter, and I'm your second host for today. This morning, we will have vibration awareness and blindfolded attractions by Satria and Eddie Pasar. I also wanted to welcome our discussants, Abdul Razak Osman from Gayong Anak Harimau, and Yun Loy Lok from Gracio, Australia, and also Michael Honegger from Damas, Art of Self-Defense Akar. After the discussants, we will have a question and answer session. For the audience, please write down your questions in the question and answer Zoom form. And for the panelists, and for the panelist room. You can write your questions using the chat dialog box. Thank you.
Thank you, David. So without further ado, I would like to invite our first speaker of today, Bapak Les. The session is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, my session is we are talking about the martial arts, what you gain from martial arts, and also how long would you able to achieve this martial arts, and how deep can you learn about martial art? So probably I'll just make it simple at this stage, because this it can be a long explanation, but let's just look at the fundamental of a martial art.
Mbak Soraya.
Hello, sorry.
Hello.
It should be the opening speech first, please.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Apologies.
Sorry, Pak Les. We will do the opening speech first.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Apologies. Sorry, I got mixed up with the other one.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would like to. I guess it's opening speech by His Excellency Ambassador Pak Kristianto. If you are already on, please go ahead. The floor is yours.
Terima kasih, Bu Soraya. Thank you so much, Bu Soraya. My good friend, Pak Irmawan Emir. As I understand, our Consul General in Melbourne also, Pak Kunchoro Giriwasiso, is also with us following this webinar. Pak Lestayu Irawan, the President of Australian Pencak Silat Federation. Pak Moncu Alamsyah, President of Merpati Putih Australia. Pak Hari Wijaya is one of the speakers. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May the blessing of Allah Almighty be always upon all of us. Om Swastiastu, Nama Budaya, salam kebajikan. Good morning to everyone. Selamat pagi untuk semuanya. It's really such a great pleasure for me to be with you all in this webinar entitled Superhuman versus Spiritual Being Energy. Well, actually, I do not know anything with regard to the theme of our webinar. But when my good friend, Pak Emir, invited me to give a short opening remark in this webinar, I immediately agree without having a second thought. The reason is because I found it is a great opportunity to introduce one of the oldest form of traditional martial art from Indonesia, namely Pencak Silat. So because of this Pencak Silat things, then I'm willing to be in this webinar, because to be honest to you, as I mentioned earlier, I do not know anything regarding the theme of this webinar that we are having today. Well, again, about the Pencak Silat. In 2019, as we all might have known, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO, has acknowledged Pencak Silat as intangible cultural world heritage from Indonesia. The inclusion of Pencak Silat as intangible cultural heritage is a proof that the international community recognizes the importance of this martial art that has been passed down in Indonesia for generations and even until today. Indonesia is committed, of course, to preserving this tradition of Pencak Silat not only as a sport or martial art, but also as a form of art and culture itself. And after all, Pencak Silat is not only about self-defense. Again, it's not only about self-defense, but also an important part of our cultural heritage as part of our identity as a nation. Every region in Indonesia, as I believe, has its own unique variation of its martial art. Accordingly, it shows the richness and the beauty of the Indonesian culture along with the values. Fortunately, this notion has also been shared by other people around the world, as a number of Indonesian actors also performing Indonesian traditional culture in the form of martial art in international film production continues also to grow. The most famous one is, I believe everybody knows, Iko Uwais, an Indonesian-born actor that has made quite a few headlines by starring in several Hollywood action movies due to his expertise and ability in performing martial arts, along with other already known Indonesian actor that has brought the world attention and recognition towards Pencaksilat. So it is really a positive reflection of the unique and diverse culture of Indonesia through one of many creative ways in promoting Indonesian art and culture. And as the Indonesian ambassador of Indonesia to Australia, I certainly hope that this would open more opportunity in introducing other Indonesian cultures, not only Pencaksilat as or martial arts, toward the global audience, in particular toward our friends here in Australia. To this theme of the superhuman versus spiritual being energy is an interesting approach toward understanding our potential as a human being. After all, we often heard the common Latin term. I learned this word since I was in the primary school. Mens sana in corpore sano, which means a sound mind in a sound body. I do believe that the human consciousness, the mind, has the ability to influence our body. This when we have a positive mindset. Hopefully our body will receive also its positive energy and raise our immune system, which is actually very relevant in today's situation when the global pandemic already affected our daily lives and activities. We have to open to all positive things. It is important to think positive, to talk positive, and do positive also. This is why I'm very pleased that this webinar made possible by the positive effort also, an initiative made by our Indonesian community in collaboration with the Australian community here in Australia. As our close neighbor and a longtime friend with whom we have shared more than 70 years of diplomatic relations, Australia is an important partner for Indonesia. Indonesia and Australia have always shared strong and robust relations that have only seen a rise over the past year, in particular with the elevation of our relations from comprehensive partnership to become comprehensive strategic partnership that's been declared by our two leaders back in August 2018. One of the pillars of the CSP emphasizes the critical importance of people-to-people links or contacts for a strong bilateral relation. So under this CSP, we are determined to promote a contemporary view of Australia and Indonesia in our respective society through social art and cultural collaborations. And the relevant embodiment of such imperative purposes will be reflected, I believe, in this superhuman vs spiritual being energy webinar that we are having this morning. Therefore, I really commend the initiative taken by the committee in organizing this webinar. I would also like to extend my highest appreciation and gratitude toward my colleague, Pak Emir, a good friend of mine, for his work and his legacy also in building the block of connection and trust between the people in Indonesia and Australia during his tenure as the Indonesian Consul General in Melbourne. And it is my profound hope that today's webinar will shed light on the various ways in unlocking our potential, not only in terms of body, but also in terms of our mind. I firmly believe that this webinar will also help promoting Indonesia's Pencaksilat, not only as a martial art, but also to further broaden and strengthen the connection, understanding, and a good relation on the people-to-people level between Indonesia and Australia. Last but not least, let us work together to make this friendship between Indonesia and Australia true and everlasting through your own time and terms. I wish you a very productive discussion, and thank you so much for the initiative, but more importantly, I think, thank you so much for being part of the better relations between Indonesia and Australia. Wish you all the best. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. God bless you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And our second speaker for today, I'd like to introduce a very special person indeed, the original founder of Merpati Putih in Australia, His Excellency Imarwan Emir Wisnandar. Over to you, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Pak, for the introductions. And I also would like to thank my good friend, His Excellency Kristiarto Legowo, Indonesian Ambassador to Australia, Mas Shahrazad Alamsyah, or I should say Mas Monchu, President of Merpati Putih Australia, and then Bapak Lee Tayu Irawan, President of Australia Pencak Silat Federations, Mas Hari Cahyadi, Senior Official of the Indonesian Air Force, and also I heard that there's Pak Konjen here, Pak Kuncoro. Nice to hear that you are attending this webinar. And of course, all of the speakers and participants attending this wonderful webinar on superhuman versus spiritual being energy. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and selamat pagi. It is a great pleasure for me to be among all of you at this virtual seminar, which is initiated by my good friend, Mas Monchu, and his team. I use the term Mas instead of Mr. because in Javanese, Mas means brother. Now let me introduce myself. My name is Irmawan Emir Wisnandar. Friends call me by my middle name, Emir. Let me share with you my experience with Merpati Putih. I joined this self-defense organization since 1979 during my university years in Bandung, West Java. The reason why did I join them? Because I was attracted to the human power in breaking iron, ice, rocks, barehanded by our special military force during the Armed Forces Day in 1976. Then, when Merpati Putih initiated to open it in West Java, I joined MP Bandung, or Merpati Putih Bandung. The other matters that I want to share with you is during my childhood, I was considered as an asthmatic bronchitis patient. I have difficulty in breathing, especially if I stay and interact with the humidity cold weather. So after I started practicing the breathing exercise technique of Merpati Putih for 3 months, the illness was cured up to this moment. When I mention cure, it's totally gone. Thank God. I'm honored that when I was posted in Melbourne in 2011 as the Indonesian Consul General, I met Mas Monchu. Together with him, we managed to set up Merpati Putih Training Center in the Consulate General compound to introduce our traditional martial arts, as well as to promote our national cultural asset that we must preserve. Excellency, colleague, ladies and gentlemen, Merpati Putih is one of the Indonesian traditional martial arts, originated from Central Java. It was used and practiced by the staff and knights of the Mataram Kingdom in 16th century. Actually, Merpati Putih is an abbreviation of Mersudi, Pati Tising Tindak, Pusokone Titising Hening. In English, it means to seek and find what's right by doing it in silence. The differences of Merpati Putih with the other traditional art of self-defense, besides the movement, we are doing the breath exercise techniques utilizing energy from ATP known as adenose 3-phosphate, whereby the result can be used as a self-defense power, vibrations, and instinct to detect healing and medicine, etc. ATP is actually a chemical biological substance inside the cell. Through the body metabolic process, the breakdown of ATP to ADP, adenosine diphosphate, will become energy. In other words, through MP, through Merpati Putih breathing techniques, when trained vigorously, the muscle tensioning and energy release produce explosive power that MP practitioners use in breathing practice. MP or Merpati Putih is not a magic. We don't need mantra to make what's impossible become possible. MP is a spiritual being. MP is a spiritual being energy which can be achieved through breathing exercise and can be explained scientifically. Therefore, it's not those superhuman categories as invisible and impossible phenomena. To conclude, I would like to convey my sincere thanks and congratulations to the organizers and to all the members of MP Australia who has made this event possible so that we can share experiences and some knowledge on martial arts as a sports or as energy booster. Hopefully, MP Australia could expedite its achievement progressively, similar to MP USA, MP Netherlands, while at the same time promoting Pencak Silat to the Australian people. Thank you.
Balik mana? Malaysia? Balik Malaysia? Alamak, dia kata.
Thank you. Next, we will watch a short video before we go on with our first speaker. Thank you very much, everyone. Again, I would like to thank you, His Excellencies Pak Emir and Pak Johannes Kristiarto for the very inspiring opening speeches. We'll move on to our first speaker of today, Bapak Les. Please go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Bu Soraya. And first of all, I'd like to thank you for with Pak Konjen, Pak Kunchoro, and also Pak Ambassador, Pak Kristianto, and everyone here. Thank you for joining us here. And as as Pancasila has been explained by Pak Cristianto, just briefly, I just like to share my experience in way of martial art. I grew up in Bandung, and then I was training by my uncles since I was 4. I was training in judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and boxing. Then and then I do the Pencak Silat with Pak Sabdo from Raden Sabdo Mulyo from East Java. That's the Lang Pencak Silat. And from Jawa Barat is Pak Tuyo Sutario from Aliran Cium Wanara, also is Domas. So my actually what I'm here is I like to share about what would you gain from practicing Pencak Silat, and there's a question also about people how long to master the Pencak Silat, and how deep can you go into practicing Pencak Silat. So just briefly, we probably can I can just talk about explaining about the 3 fundamental in martial art is about physics, mentally, and spiritualism. So let's say in Pencak Silat we have the jurus, as the form. So through the form, we are building our body. We are focusing about our body. It's about understanding our body and the gadget of our sophisticated technology is our body, and from there we will learn about the part of our body like the muscles, the bone structures, all these organs in our body, and we continually building this physique. We become much more confident. Our body is experience the health and the pleasure there in our body, and then we from there we continue learning about what we eat and the foods that will develop this energy and also the strength in there. So that's basically if you're talking about physics, that the form would build up the physically in our body, and also the coordinations, all that. And we are mentally there. We are strong in our thought and belief, and we have much more. We have confidence in our daily, in our life that we would open up our minds in much more wisely there. So that's part of training, the gain of what you gain from practicing Pencak Silat or martial art there. So from there is we're talking about how long we're going to be able to master this way of martial art here. There is no time for it. We always learn day to day until, well, we can say the minute before we die. We're still learning about our body, our minds, and so we will be practicing all this in our daily life from moment to moment in your life. Therefore, there is no time limit. There is we will learn and learn all the time. And we try to master our techniques, our life, our mind, the thoughts, the emotion, the body, and the energy. So we try to bring it into one sort of a direction. Therefore, in our moment of life, we have that energy that becomes that superhuman. They're able to put all this in one direction. Then from there, we were talking about a bit more deeply within ourselves, that we were talking about the spiritualism there, that belief that you can use this way of martial art into the way of life, and you become more deeper. You're looking into deep in yourself, within yourself. That's through focusing like what we can say meditations, through understanding the one that able to command our body. That's when we talking a little bit more deeper there, that that is a part of a way of life in the martial arts. Yeah, perhaps that's for now. That's how much I can share, but I can talk a lot more to this if we're coming back to each one of them from physically. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Patles. So for those who missed the first part, Patles is the president of the Australian Pencak Silat Federation. So thank you again, Patles. The next one, I would like to invite Mas Hari from the Indonesian Air Force, who will have things very interesting to share with us. Thank you so much, Mas Hari. Thank you so much, Mas Hari. I would like to welcome again Mas Hari from the Indonesian Air Force. He will talk to us about how his capability is being used in the military and how useful it is in assisting with the military operations. The floor is yours, Mas Hari.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Aya. First of all, I would like to greet Your Excellency from the Indonesian Embassy, Pak Kris, and also my senior in Merpati Putih, Mas Emir. And there is also Indonesian Divine Attaché, First Admiral Agus Rustandi, and also for all the panelists and also the attendees. Thank you for the time that you given to me to speak about a superhuman. Actually, I would like to speak about the superhuman first. The definition of superhuman from my point of view is the capability that is a human head that more than a normal human being, where we can do anything like a normal being can do. So in the relation of the definition between superhuman and the military, I think it's really, really relevant, because in the military, almost that we do, especially in the military operation, need more capability or more competency to accomplish the mission. For example, and a few months ago, when we have an earthquake and there's somebody which is buried under the ground, then we cannot find it. We use one of our capability using our blindfolded, and we try to find where is the body. And with the capability, we can find the body. And after that, we finally can we can take the body and bury it in the proper way. That is one of the example. And for another example, maybe when we are having a practice like there is a terrorist inside the building, and the condition is at night, and we are trying to infiltrate and to save the hostage there. With our eyes blindfolded and all the electricity is being shut down, we can find out before we are entering the building. We can find out directly where is the position of the hostage, and also where is the terrorist and what is they're using. So we can get into the building without their knowing it, in the condition, very, very dark condition. And we finally can save the hostage and also minimize the victim of the hostage. I think that's all I can say about the Superman in the military perspective. But yeah, I think that's all about the Superman relation inside the military operation.
Thank you so much. So just out of curiosity, will we ever see someone like Iron Man, in real life, and perform all these military action?
That's quite interesting question. I suppose we can see something like Iron Man, but not in the flying part first yet, maybe, but we can break almost everything. For me, myself, I can break a concrete bar into maybe more than 500 concrete bars by only using one hit. And also I have a world record breaking an iron bar with using only one finger for about 15 iron bars in one hit, only using by one finger.
Wow, okay. Well, looking forward to seeing that in real life as soon as this pandemic is over. I suppose if there isn't anything else, we can go on to the next session with the next speaker. David, over to you.
All right, over to our next speaker. We have Pak Monchu, the president of Merpati Putih, Australia. Over to you, Pak Monchu. Pak Monchu, are you there? We have a short video first on Merpati Putih Vibration Awareness Introduction.
Vibration Awareness Merpati Putih Australia Special Program. Vibration Awareness is a program that has been packaged to accommodate certain achievement which is useful for any institution, such as visually impaired schools, education, cultural, arts, sports, police, special forces and security companies or other martial arts schools. Ancient Eastern knowledge teach us about energy vibration awareness from generation to generation, not in theory but more in practical way of how to develop our consciousness in energy vibration processes. Actually, our eyes are not seeing objects. Matter is purely a transmission of electric energy waves that captured by eyes, where our brain will create the image of that object. In other words, images of any object does not exist outside our body, but it is in our brain processes, exists inside our own consciousness. Mapati-Piti have proven that theory. If you close your eyes, you'll still be able to detect any object surrounding your body. All objects transmits its own energy with various unique density, certain frequency waves, that can be translated by human brain. Mapati-Piti Vibration Awareness Program is conducted systematically, divided into 4 phases consist of the following stages. Phase 1, Environmental Detection. Phase 2, Mobility Improvement. Phase 3, Proficiency and Color Detection. Phase 4, Expertise Stage.
Okay, that was a great introduction.
Yes. How are you, David?
Yeah, bagus, Pak. Very good.
Very good, very good.
Welcome to the show.
Yes.
And that was a very good introduction to vibration awareness, and which I believe you're one of the main teachers of the program. If you'd like to tell us a bit more about it, that would be fantastic.
Okay. Thanks, David. And also, I also appreciate with His Excellency, Pak Johannes, and my old friend, High Excellency Ambassador also, Mas Eming. So in this, because we have already see a lot of superhuman things before, I just want to bring back to our reality about how to become just a normal human. So I hope we can bring this discussion, David, if you have any question. But first, what I want to say is this is about, I want to talk about consciousness and human being energy, right? But this is more, I'm not a scientist, I'm just an architect and a programmer in my life. And also I'm a painter. So it is more subjective opinion, okay? So the first thing is, in my opinion, from my experience, if I'm talking about consciousness, it is, for example, if I'm in a meditation state, for example, between my thought, I always have some thought, my bill, my mortgage, something like that, right? If we do the meditation. But between the thought, sometimes in certain occasion, we have a gap between a thought. Accidentally, we cannot create that. So that gap, that's my understanding is a consciousness, my consciousness. And then if I want to really realize my consciousness, I have to explore myself about my own energy, not in the theory level. That's why I'm really like about Merpati-Putih, because I did learn a little bit about yoga, about Tai Chi. There are a lot of things. And it was before I'm just thinking about the whole theory there. I try to meditate in a theory level. I just start more and more become confused, right? Too many theory, too many thought. In Merpati-Putih, bit by bit, we learn about how we feel the energy itself. So for me, while the first time in my generation, we don't have the luxury of this steel bar or whatever, our teacher asked us to break all the ice tube and the stone from the river. And at that time, I just felt that that's the first time I felt about my own energy. So this is not about the how to show off that we can break anything, any hard material. That's not the point there. The point is I am experienced myself about my own energy. And then after that, I start to understand about chakras in yoga, qi from the Chinese traditional, not in theory level. I start to feel the area, the vibration. And then after that, I also start to understand about the sound in myself. Also, in certain period, if I'm really be like a very stable condition, I also can visualize colors, for example, in my mind. And then after that, I understand why the the ancient knowledge put all the colors, bring the name of the chakras and everything. So it's open my mind to another point of view about myself, about my spirituality. Okay. I talk too much. Okay,
That's a very
David. Just we make it this as a discussion, and then yes, please.
Sure. Yeah, that's a very good understanding of your own experience there. Thank you very much for sharing with our audience today. I guess the people of the audience, they want to know how we can use this consciousness and into a reality, and how we can use this to achieve things that people don't normally aren't able to achieve. And I believe there's a number of things that they teach in Merpati Putih that are quite very interesting, and it's not the normal way of being. What kind of experiences have you had?
There are a lot. So in this, for example, as you know, we see a lot about the practice of closing your eyes to see the object or to see the colors, right?
Yep.
But the thing is, from my understanding, we are not aiming to become expert to seeing the colors, but the purpose of that experience to bring a real experience that light actually is not come from outside. If we are open our eyes, actually we are seeing an illusion of light. Not many people realize, because I'm architect, right? If you see the buildings line is always distortion to the eye view, right? It is not like the square building. So that's the illusion. But if we close our eyes, it means the external object actually inside our consciousness. It actually exists. So if we can visualize a color inside, where the light came from. So from my experience, from my understanding, because we are a light being, that's why we can see the color in our mind, because we are the light itself. So this is like a proof that external, actually there is no external, it is inside of our consciousness. It is not easy to explain, I understand that, but yeah, that's my understanding. So those experience actually is more to make yourself understand about your spirituality, that you are not only a physical body only, we are also an energy being, we are also a light being itself. So
Very interesting.
the whole
Very
purpose,
interesting.
yes.
Yeah. So it's looking a much more deeper understanding of who we are as individuals, rather than just being physical, you know, or rather than just being able to see something. You're saying, you know, there's a much more deeper level of understanding of who and what we are.
Yeah.
Wow. And so, you know, a lot of people want to know, can you hold up a spoon and bend it with your mind? You know,
Yeah, that's a
like
lot.
that.
That's a very, very good question. The answer is yes and no altogether. Okay. Okay, this not the spoon. Spoon, I'm a skeptic person. I never believed in that you can do that as well. Okay. But let's say there are a lot of questions if to me asking about, you have an inner power. Can you punch a long distance? That's very another good question, right? So to answer that, it is doable, okay? But it is impossible. Why it is doable? Okay, if you do a meditation, you sometimes found a state. For example, in that day, you are very, very stable emotion, right? You don't have a mortgage. You are not fighting with your friend. You don't have a problem with your wife. Everything very, very stable. And then at some point, you can build up your energy wave more dense, very, very dense. For example, in your hand, you have a very thick vibration wave there. And then you can transform that, become a one line energy wave, okay? And then you can just push that's the concept of the long distance punch. But it is impossible. Why? If someone asks me to fight, I can ask him, okay, mate, please wait a while for 1 hour. I have to meditate first. I have to bring my energy first. Nobody want to wait me for that. They will punch me first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
And then the second thing, let's say you already have a density vibration that you can push. Once my emotion comes in, once my ego bring up, that vibration gone, bang. Okay, so that's why in theory,
So it takes a lot of concentration and a lot of
course,
a lot of you know, effort to be able to achieve something like that.
Yeah. So so you want to fight in a ring in a MMA, don't try to do that. You can get punched on a second by your opponent then.
Sure.
Because you are okay. That's hopefully you're happy with that question.
Fantastic. That's great. And we have some attractions, or we have I wanted to introduce Wendy and Rob Freeman.
Yes.
Are you guys here to join us?
We're here.
Fantastic. Welcome. And I believe, Rob, you're in Florida right now and you're dodging hurricanes.
Well, yeah, thank you very much, David, for having us on this show on Manchu. And yes, we're leaving on Monday and the hurricane comes through on Tuesday. So fingers crossed that it doesn't come any sooner than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm in Ontario, so we're a long way away. So.
Okay. Well, welcome to the show.
Okay, welcome Wendy, Gallant, and Rob. We will just chat a while. After that, I will give the floor to both of you to explain. So for you, the panelists and attendees, this is Rob Freeman and Wendy Gallant. They are the what we call the blindfold seeing practitioners, right? The good thing, they they found their own method, and this is a very, very interesting that they will share to us. Okay, David, do you have any question? After that, we can just bring the floor to Rob and Wendy.
Yeah, that's fine. So we can, yeah, Rob, if you'd like to start first, that'd be great.
Sure, thanks, David. So for Wendy and I, it all started out with a friend of mine who actually lives in Australia, a good friend, Leonia Pelt. And she sent me a video of her grandchildren wearing blindfolds, seeing. They were playing games, hide and go seek, all kinds of things, and reading. And this video went on for 2 or 3 minutes. And I said to myself, this has to be a joke. And, you know, Leonie is a very funny person, and she jokes around and has fun. She's a great person. And I thought it was a joke. But then I thought, why would she take 3 minutes to make a joke in a video like that? And I said, I wrote her back and I said, is this true? Are your grandchildren really seeing, or are you putting me on? Is this a joke? And I said, because if it's true, I want to do it. She wrote me right back and she says, Rob, it's absolutely true. I've been teaching them to see blindfolded for some time now. So she said there's a person in Ottawa, Canada that teaches it. I talked to my friend Wendy here. We both went with 2 other people to Ottawa and we started into it. Now, the whole thing is that I was the only person that saw one color for the whole weekend. Yeah. Wendy didn't even see a thing except when I was practicing. So
it was interesting because when we went in for the training session, we were sitting there and the trainer looked at me and went, you won't be able to do it. You're too old. And so that was my first meeting with her. And when she told me that, I was like, okay, well, I didn't see anything the whole time for the training until later on in our bread and breakfast, correct?
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. I was practicing and Wendy was following along. It's good to do it with a partner. And Wendy was quietly following along. And all of a sudden, Marcus turned and held a color to Wendy, and Wendy saw it. So that was great. We had a breakthrough. From there, Wendy and I started practicing on our own and doing a lot of research. And it really came down to getting totally relaxed and getting out of your left brain. And a lot of this is kind of like ideology or representations. And I don't know if it's exactly what's happening, but it's a good way the brain can understand it. The idea is to get out of the left brain, which is intellectual, ego, reasoning, logical, leave that behind and get into the right brain that is more empathic, it's more sensing and all those things. And Wendy, it wasn't long and we were starting to see colors. You started first and let the viewers know how it actually started for you.
Well, we initially just started seeing colored sheets. And we practiced with that and we got to know where the color was. It wasn't just boom, it was a color where it was and that. And then we went on and I'll never forget the first time Rob walked through, like we practiced 3 times a week together. Rob would walk through and I'll never forget this. He said, do you see anything on this sheet of paper? And it was unbelievable. It was the number 5 and the number 5 formed in my mind. And that was the first time, like I was seeing colors, but it was the first time an actual letter and it painted, like it just painted itself on and it just blew my mind. Yeah.
It was pretty incredible. It was actually very emotional for both of us when that happened.
Yeah.
As much for me as it was for you, as much for me watching it, as much for you experiencing it. So we went on to symbols, you know, triangles, squares, circles, pluses. We could see that. I even fooled you one day. I went out in the car, you thought I was nearby, and I drove down to the beach 1,000 feet away, and you could still see the stuff I was showing. You know,
I didn't know he drove away. I didn't know he drove away. He said, I'm going out to the car. He said, tell me what color I have on the dash of my car. And I was telling them colors while he's backing out of my driveway and driving down the street. And he didn't tell me that until he came back. So that just another one just kind of blew my mind. Yeah.
And we have it all on video. We record all this stuff. We've got a channel. It's there's a Facebook page, Learning to See Blindfolded, Rob Freeman and Wendy Gallant. We have YouTube channels. I think Wendy's is called Seeing Blindfolded Training. Wendy G, mine is Seeing Blindfolded Practice, Rob Freeman. We document everything we're doing. It's a journey. And, you know, many people are inspired because we're in our mid 60s and we shouldn't be able to do this. But we
By
are.
everyone else. Yeah. Everyone else says that our age can't do it. Yeah.
So how old were you guys when you first started?
Well, in my case, it was 3.5 years ago. So I was 64 at that time.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And I'd be 63 at that time.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty incredible because it's really just quietening yourself down. And you can
We're trying to tell everyone that it's possible for anyone. Like the age, it's a little more difficult because the older you get, the more stuff you have in your mind, you know, work and everything. But if you can quieten it, you can do it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And Wendy has lately been having several more things happen. Describe what's happening, Wendy. I get glimpses of it now and again, but you're having it happen even more.
Well, I think I know Masmanchu was talking about your consciousness and that, and when COVID came along, we were practicing by Skype, and this one, it was wild for me. Rob directed me over to his house, directed me up to his stairs, directed me into his room where he was practicing. And he said to me, I'm walking across the room and I'm holding a colored piece of paper. What is that color? But me, I saw him walk across the room. My consciousness was there in his room, watching him go across. And I said, is the sheet orange? And he said, yes. And but the color wasn't what got me. The thing that got me is that I was in his room. I saw him walk across.
Fantastic. You saw a lot more than you bargained for.
Well, yeah, and
I
now know. I've said this since we started this because we've been doing it for so long that we're getting more and more and more. But I now know anything's possible.
Fantastic.
Anything's possible. Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of listeners out there that are feeling a little bit skeptical, and we have some attractions that we'd like to show from Satria and Eddie Pasa. Are you guys here now?
Yes, Mas David.
Oh, hello. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm already downstairs.
Fantastic. So are you ready to go?
Okay, Mas David, I will give me 2 seconds to prepare myself.
No worries at all.
So Satria is actually Mas Hari's son. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. But yeah.
And how old is he?
He's now in the 5th grade of elementary school, 10 years old.
Okay.
Okay, I will try to explain before he's doing the demonstration. Today he will do the demonstration how to walk through some part of using a bicycle. And the first step, I will put this blindfolded into his eyes. And I will make sure that he's not cheating on me by picking up from under his nose. Okay. Now I will tell him I will put, he don't know where I will put the bicycle. I will put the bicycle before he rides the bicycle. I will put it in random places. Walk to find the bicycle first. By evading the obstacle. Okay, Satria find the bicycle. Cari sepedanya. After you find the bicycle move on the obstacle. Okay, you now can move around the obstacle. If you can ride faster, it's up to you. Lanjut. Concentrate. Ngebut ke sana, ngebut aja lurus. Ngebut dulu, nanti kamu balik lagi lewat obstacle-nya. He may be a little bit nervous because still a child. Faster. Faster. Ngebut. Ngebut lagi nggak apa-apa, ngebut. Now, can you get down from the bicycle, turun dari sepeda, sekarang lari, melewati obstacle-nya itu, pass through the obstacle, lari. Do not hit the obstacle. Lari, jangan berhenti sampai dibilang stop. Lari. Lari. Now, collect sekarang ambil semua obstacle, diambil, dikumpulkan jadi satu. Collect all the obstacle and make it into one pieces. Collect all the obstacle. Ambil semuanya. Find the other obstacle and collect it into one. Cari yang lain, find another one. Lebih cepat lagi, you can do it much faster. So he's trying to find all the obstacles and collect into one. He's just practicing for about less than 1 year. Cari lagi yang lain. Lebih cepat lagi, faster, faster. Find another, cari yang lain. It is something that's very easy when we do it with our eyes is not blindfolded. But when our eyes is blindfolded, it's quite difficult, maybe very difficult. We are also give a practice for this kind of method to blind men, since they are even for the person is blind since they are birth. Cari lagi, dua lagi. Two more. Faster, faster, faster. Tenang, fokus. Terangin lagi. Make it more bright, more bright. Last one. Find the last one. Concentrate, focus. Okay, now run, bring it to me. Run towards me. Run. Run towards me. Run towards me. Give me the obstacle. Okay, thank you. I think that's all for the demonstration for Satya. Sanju. Oh, wait. I will open his eyes. Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks for the demonstration.
You're welcome, Mas David.
And we have a second demonstration from Eddie Pasar. Are you there, Mas Eddie? I have to say that was a really incredible exercise and so good. The kids are learning so young. It's no wonder they become so good. Incredible. Well done, Satya. Do we have?
Thank you,
do we have Eddie here?
Okay.
Yeah, you're live, Mas Eddie.
Okay, all right.
Please stop the share screen. Thank you.
Mas Eddie, I believe you have not started your screen, so we are unable to see you.
Hello. Okay. Okay. Let's restart the last attraction by Eddie Pasar and with Daniel Boras.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak David. Hello, Mas Eddie. My name is Daniel. Okay, so I'm going to draw something, and Mas Eddie, you're going to draw it on your side.
Mas Edi, Mas Daniel mau minta Mas Edi untuk menggambar.
Okay. All right. Start with something. Let's see.
Mas Daniel akan mulai menggambar, Mas Edi.
Actually, hang on.
Silakan.
Mas Edi, apa kabar Mas Edi?
Baik, fine.
Oh, bisa bahasa Inggris Mas Edi gaya.
Little I can lah.
Little I can ya. Oke, Mas Daniel. Mas Daniel udah gambar, udah taruh di layar. Coba Mas Edi detect. Could you just please detect the drawing by Mas Daniel?
Mana? Kok nggak ada?
Kelihatan nggak?
Belum ada gambarnya.
Oh, wait. Kelihatan nggak?
Mana belum? Nah, oke.
Yap.
Saya ikutin ya?
Iya. Jangan ngintip ya, Mas.
Oke. Ngintip apa? Ngintip udah kenceng banget ini.
Don't cheating.
No cheat, Mas Edi. You'll be embarrassed with Satria.
Mau banget, Ed.
Hah? Kenapa?
So for all panelists and attendees, this is what we call as a remote viewing. So Mas Edi Pasar will try to detect the drawing, and he will try to draw from his side.
Oke.
Yap.
Ini gambar saya.
Oke. Diangkat sedikit ke atas sedikit lah. Nah, gitu, ditaruh. Oke, that's good. Oke. Yep. And Mas Daniel, you try to write a letter or something?
Yeah.
And Mas Edi will read it. Mas Edi, Mas Daniel mau nulis kata-kata, nanti Mas Edi baca.
Oke.
Moga-moga bahasa Inggrisnya nggak susah, Mas Edi.
Little can lah ya teh.
Ya.
Little mah kan kata orang Sunda mah. Seetik lah.
Bahasa. Oke.
Oh, that's showing the reverse.
Angst.
Yes. That's it.
Blue, red, green, black.
Yeah, one more color, Mas Edi. Red, green, black. One more.
A, blue, and
yes.
red, K, green, H,
Yeah.
black.
That's right.
It is not K in English,
K,
but
K.
yeah, K, green.
Green.
That's right, Master Eddie.
Try to write that he can spell, for example, whatever.
Okay. All right. Hang on. Can I wipe out that whole picture or?
No, yeah, you wipe the whole picture and try to write a letter.
A word. Okay.
But not a difficult English because Eddie cannot speak English. So yeah.
Okay.
Just a very, very simple.
Little.
Oke, Mas Edi, udah ditulis, tinggal baca. Sama, ya baca dulu, nanti sebutin warnanya, warna spidolnya. You read it first, and then after that you explain the color.
Material.
That's right. That's right.
M, blue. A, black. T, red. E, red. R, green. I, blacks. A, blacks. L, black.
Okay, that was a bit tricky because I put the blue and the
Blue.
black together, but yeah, it was blue.
L blue.
L is blue. Yes.
L black and blue.
Yeah. Okay. And now I think Mbak Loren turn. Mbak Loren. Sekarang Mbak Loren mau pick warna, Mas Edi.
Okay.
Bentar. Wait. Kelihatan udah, Mbak Loren udah taruh warnanya.
Purple. Yellow.
Closer to the camera, Mbak Loren. Yes.
Red. Orange. Green. Blue. Red.
Oke, that's good. Gaya bahasa Inggrisnya Mas Edi ya?
Ya kan little.
Oke, thank you very much Mbak Loren. Okay, now we back to our.
Thank you very much, Mas Eddie.
Thank you.
That was fantastic and really incredible. Thank you very much for everybody.
Amazing.
For that matter. Yeah, we just wanted to welcome our audiences to write something down on paper and to add to the attraction. Would anyone like to?
Do they need to write it on a piece of paper and just type it in the chat, or because if there is a case, they will need to turn on their camera for anyone who would like to join?
We have Caroline Corey the producer of the Superhuman. So welcome to Carolyn Corey.
Oh, that's amazing. Welcome. So do we have anyone from the audience who would like to give it a try? Maybe write something on a piece of paper? I can probably do that. Can I do it? If
Yes,
there isn't anyone?
Yes, of course, you can do that.
Okay, I will write something.
We would like to offer actually, because maybe someone think that we always pre-arrange something like that.
Okay, I will do it. But yeah,
Yeah, but you can try from your end.
Okay, okay, I'll write something.
Ready, stand by, Mas Edi.
Lagi. Nah.
Okay. Okay, here goes. Oh, sorry. Oh, I have to write it the other way around. Hang on.
Mas Edi?
Yep.
Nongol lagi itu Mbak Soraya mau naruh tulisan. Jadi Mas Edi baca.
Okay, I'm gonna write.
Jangan kabur dulu.
Yeah. Dulu sebentar.
Ya.
Nih. Ininya lagi.
Mana videonya belum nyala?
Makanya. Oke.
Udah.
Oke dah.
Kelihatan nggak Mbak Aya? Bentar.
Belum.
Bentar, mesti di spotlight dulu biasanya. Nah, itu.
Ini tulisannya terbalik nih.
Oh, okay. I'll have the other one.
Enter.
That is correct. Wow. Okay.
I've got one
And
as
you're
well.
sure you're blindfolded, yeah? You can't see anything.
I don't know. Maybe he's looking from the.
Maybe it's a good idea to, take it off and then just show it to the camera so that we can all see that it's really, you can't really see anything,
Eddie, Mas Eddie, read what is written by Mas David.
Okay.
Mas Edi, Mas David nulis, bentar. Yap. Bisa baca nggak?
Bisa.
Sombong.
Itu tulisannya pencak silat. Pencak green, silatnya red.
Oke.
Fantastic.
Si Laura itu Soraya itu mau lihat, dibuka dulu matanya, terus pasang satu-satu supaya mereka lihat sendiri, jangan pasang duluan.
Oke.
The step from the first time when you put the blindfolded.
That you are really blindfolded so that you can't see anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe show it to the camera. Show it to the camera from your end. Okay.
Yeah.
So as opposed to double mask, he's wearing double blindfolds.
Yes.
Because here in Indonesia, when we go out now, we are required to wear double masks because of COVID.
Yeah, but still, for the skeptic, it is not easy because sometimes they are always thinking maybe there are the hole in within, something like that. Yeah. But that's why you have to do by yourself, experiencing by yourself, and then you can understand about this thing. Okay, Mbak Aya, after that we can continue with our next session, Mas David and Mbak Aya.
Sure. So next up, we'd like to welcome our discussants. Do we have Mas Mick and Pak Razak? Are you there?
Sorry, Pak Razak, he can't do that. He's working today, so apologize from Pak Razak. So we have only Mick and Yun. But before that, thank you for Mas Edi Pasar for your attraction and Mas Satria as well. It's very, very great attraction. Thank you for both of you.
Yeah, I was gonna say because thank you so much again, Pak Edi Pasar and Dek Satria, yeah, because he's in his 5th grade. Actually, Mas Hari was telling me earlier that he could even play video games blindfolded. So that could be something that we could explore later on, because that's amazing.
Hello all. We just got message from Caroline Corey in the chat. Maybe you can read it.
Let's see.
She doesn't have a microphone, and yeah. Wait.
Oh yes, you did enjoy the film. Caroline, it's brilliant.
I think wait. I think he can start the.
So shall we go on?
Oh, thank you for Karen Corey to attend for this, because your film inspired us to make this webinar, to promote about what you already exploring in your documentary film. And we really hope that the science community, scientists will start to explore this for education purpose, for how we able to bring this method from the childhood, from elementary school up to the high school. So I believe we can be happy if we can do that. So that's why we will promote this method around the world. Okay. Okay, now we have our discussions today. Mbak Yun Loy, Locke, and Mick Honegger. So this is the floor for you.
Thanks, Mas Monchu. I'm not sure who can start, but it's basically I just have some statements and questions from what we've seen so far. I'll just basically introduce myself, a practitioner of Pencak Silat, so just full disclosure on that, and been training with Pak Les Irawan for many years, and have been part of the Pencak Silat community for a long time. But my interest in this has come through my own practice, but obviously this is a new perspective from Merpati Putih, which is a different style of Pencak Silat to what we practice, but a lot of the fundamentals and philosophy is consistent. But being in the modern world and being heavily influenced by the scientific perspective on the world, growing up and through education and living in the times we do, to have exposure to these types of practices in the modern world is sometimes either viewed as archaic or redundant or superstitious, or with a lot of skepticism surrounding it, and so I come with that perspective as well as being a practitioner and having an open mind. But my question is, or statement is, in terms of our abilities as superhumans, it seems that since the Enlightenment period, with technology and science, we've more or less seems that we've outsourced these abilities to creating external technologies that do the same thing. The irony is we're conversing from multiple parts of the world right now on devices that would have seemed like magic 100 years ago. but people have been practicing it, from what we're saying, practicing the meditation, the breathing, the remote viewing, the ability to refine your senses, not just your primary senses, sight, smell, touch, sound, but the other senses that come from the internal perspective of the human. That's been practiced for very long. Is it that we're just externalizing those abilities with the technology we're using, or is it the other way around, that there'll be a convergence of technology with these abilities? Is that something that's being explored or discussed, or I'm just curious about those two connections. And Monchu, as you're involved a lot in technology yourself, does that interest you, or have you got a perspective on that?
Yes. Okay. So because I'm also a programmer myself, and I'm also really a little bit understanding about AI, artificial intelligence, deep learning, and machine learning myself. What my dream actually, I'm talking, this is about in martial art, right? My dream is, rather than we put both people attack each other inside the ring, okay? If someone can develop, for example, like a real virtual opponent, that's a really, really brutal one. For example, you are using your virtual 3D glasses. It's like playing a game, but you're a real combat with your enemy, virtual enemy, who really bring the knife, you really, because today, we cannot do that in real version, right? You cannot bring someone with real knife and then stab your stomach, for example. It will hurt. It's not against the law, okay? So next, I believe 5 years or 10 years, we will have a real virtual opponent. That's make you as a martial artist real have an experience, because virtual opponent is really fast and real with knife and blah, blah, blah. So you can, but on the other side, it is more human actually. You are not hurting someone, but you are really develop your martial arts skill. That's one explanation. Now, I just want to talk another thing here. What we lost today about martial art, if we back to the traditional martial art philosophy, actually martial art is not to fight, build your ego, so whatever. Even 100 years ago, martial art is only a basic step to understand more about your spirituality. That's why 100 years ago, if you learn martial art, you are not allowed to use it. Even you are not allowed to tell your friends that you are doing martial art. You are not allowed to do any violence at all. You only allowed to use your martial art in case you are really in danger situation and you have to kill someone, or you to get killed, to be killed. That's all. But the problem is, if we maintain the old philosophy, the knowledge will be gone. That's why in modern sport, martial art is become sport. You want to achieve to be like you are a number one, you are good, you are something like that. So this is the way how we find the win-win solution. We still keep the traditional philosophy, so everybody understand about martial art. It is not for the violence, it is for your spiritual journey. But on the other hand, how we can still manage this as a modern sport. But to be honest, in my age, I never like anymore to see boxing in the ring, someone get knocked out, something like that, okay? For me, it is, I don't know. I don't like it anymore. I am a martial artist, but I don't like it anymore now. What is the purpose you become a winner, but someone hurt? That's the modern concept, right? But that's the way we live in today. If we are not doing that, nobody interested anymore with martial art or pencak silat. So that's our homework. We want to introduce pencak silat, a traditional martial art, with still keep the philosophy, but how we still manage become for the young generation understand and willing to learn it. So I don't know the answer yet, but yeah. Sorry, I'm talking too much. Okay, I give to. Okay.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you. That we could talk about this subject forever. But I'll hand it over to Yun Loy.
Yeah, thank you, Mas Mick, and hello everyone. And yeah, it's a very interesting webinar we have here today because I am from the background with sports science study. So this is really something different for me, to be honest. And for most of you here, I can see that you have lots of experience with this pencak silat from very young age as well. Whereas for me, it's quite a new thing for me, just started like a few years ago. So it's really interesting when we relate this to the philosophy of it, like in terms of like how we can look into the spiritual of it. And what attracts me is actually on the focus within this art itself. So I just bring this up based on my personal experience. I think it would be easier to relate things all together with a real experience. Back in 2016, some of you might be around in Sunshine Coast for the Australian National Pencak Silat Championship. So I myself is a participant in the Jurus Tunggal competition. Halfway through, I actually twisted my knee. And I think if at that point of time, if I don't have that strong mentality and the spirit in myself, someone would have stopped at that point of time. But I think I didn't focus my attention on my injuries and the pain in my knee at that point of time. So I just, finish it off, even though it's not perfect. And there's a lot of factors in place at that point of time as well. So yeah, with all these spiritual components within this art, I think it really builds someone out in this kind of environment. So yeah, I don't know, what do you think? Is that also part of the thing that we can actually instill in like the younger generation of how to put our attention away and focusing it to the end to achieve what we actually target for?
Mas Hari, maybe you can explain or what less?
Yes, yeah, I remember that, Yun Loy, when you joined in the competition and you injured your ankles. And it is true, like what you mentioned about the mentality. If you see like DMMA, so for instance, one day some people, cut the face and they bleed as anything, they're still fighting there. The pain is sort of, it's nothing to that, because the mind, the thought is your energy is driven, focused in that one direction. Like for instance, that World Championship last time, one of the Thailand competitor. He dislocated his shoulders, but he just kept going. And then that the round stopped, and then the third round, he's still going. At the end, with that kind of mentality, that the thought, the mind, the body, the emotion, and the energy, he just focused in that one direction. That's what I call at that moment, he's a superhuman, that he's able to continue, and he wants the competition. So therefore, that's what it is about. What my understanding, practicing, when people practicing martial art, first they learn about art, they're thinking about self-defense, and then it's about power. The one power, they're like to be that superhuman, and they like to prove it themselves by, oh, let's, I'm a strong man, and then you try it on the street, you fight in there, and then you want to prove it again how strong you are, and then you join this competition, and you want to prove it again, you're coming into the MMA. But that's all, it'll be an end of your try to prove that way your muscly parts and things. As you get older, that's what we're talking about. You're coming into more deep inside, looking deep in your side. That's we're coming into that spiritual part, because many lots of sportsmanship or people, showing that way at the end of the time. It's, by the time you're 40 or 50, you cannot compete anymore. So you find you lost somewhere there. That's a lot's happened to many martial artists, So that's when they need to go within themselves, coming into that part and put it that all together. That's when you understand, fully understand a lot more about how you command your body. That's what it is, and become more interesting in your life. That's when all the martial art, especially in Pencak Silat, that very strong drive that my mentor always put it in there. So the art itself is just to build you become, understand your body, understand the gadget of your body from the outside to the inside, and how to command that gadget. Because we are the most sophisticated gadget that, we can eat banana, turn into a body. It's alive, where, your mobile phone don't. But that's where many people's like, when you, they're more focused into technology than into their own spirituals and their bodies and things like that. So that's a lot more. That's a lot more in there. So the more you want to know about all this, the way of life in martial art, so that's then you go deeper, you open your mind a lot more. And that's a lot. In Indonesia itself, until today, there is still people very deep inside that are always, when I go back to Indonesia, I go to the mountain, meeting these people. My last mentor was Sumadi from Solo, and then he showed to me that it would only happen in your dream, but I can witness this in this reality that it's unexplainable. So that there exists in this during this lifetime in here. So we can talk a little bit more deeply there between once you enter into that side, the one that Sam mentioned, that is that spiritual part. I call it the one there. So the one with this body, and then that's how you go deeper and deeper. That's a way of practice of this, focus on this. Yeah. So I think I can talk a lot more further, getting a bit more. So yeah, if I can pass it on to someone, probably can add more what I can say here. Yeah.
Thanks, Pat Les, and thank you to everybody who's joined us today. It's been really, eye-opening from many different levels for everybody who's been watching. Thank you all for your participation, and we look forward to, seeing you out in the community and receiving your questions. We want to keep this conversation open, and look forward to hearing from you. So thank you everybody for today. Over to you, Soraya. Do you have any final words for the webinar today?
Yeah, well, I would just like to thank you again, everyone, and the panelists and the organizers from VV Bus. What an event. I really hope it was helpful. It certainly was quite an eye-opening seminar for me. And I really hope, as it does to me, that it will help you gain a deeper understanding of this incredible potential that humans have, really. And I think, David, correct me if I'm wrong, it isn't about having so-called superhuman strength, but to have the ability to improve our day-to-day lives in certain situations. For example, when technology fails us, maybe somewhere along the way could help, detect someone who has COVID, for instance, right? And also, so that means, like, just based on what we've seen and heard so far, it allows us to help others really when needed. So again, thank you very much for everything, everyone, all the speakers, all the discussants, and especially the audience, His Excellencies, Pak Krisyarto, who I believe have already left the room, but again, thank you very much for the inspiring opening speech, and Pak Emir as well. So thank you. Back to the organizers.
Thank you. Pak Manchu, do you have any final words?
Yeah, I just want to thank for you all, for the speakers, for all panelist speakers, the discussions today, and especially also I want to thank for all my friends from Merpati Putih, Indonesia, from anywhere. So really grateful to see today, and we will still doing this. And another occasion, we get more in depth to discuss this thing, and we will bring other maybe expert on this area. Okay, that's only for me at the moment, because we are run out of time, I think. Back to the PB Bus team.